Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator, and in this video, we're going to talk about the 490 million for wildfire prevention that the U.S. allocated. This, that's $500 million. Here's agripulse.com. They cover the agricultural industry, and it says it was the Department of Agriculture, USDA, that authorized part of that big, massive spending bill that was signed into law. 490 million for wildfire prevention efforts. However, this same article ends with saying more funding will be needed from Congress, which is American taxpayers, which is actually, in reality, more currency collapsing debt. After the Inflation Reduction Act, funds run out. They said this is going to require long-term commitment that spans a number of years. And we didn't get into this circumstance overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. We have to continue to be vigilant. And that's is it Tom Vilsack? Yeah, Tom Vilsack, the agricultural secretary. So, it's going to go over the states of Arizona, California, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. And the measures will include prescribed burn, mechanical thinning, and biomass removal projects. So, this is needed because the wildfires out west are, we all see the headlines that people die. There was a guy from the Bozeman area, and he went out and was flying copters, his own. He went out to help the efforts, and his chopper went down. And loss of life for the people whose homes and communities get burned. But on the other hand, where does Congress think they're coming up with this money? It's okay. But the government has a plan. The Forest Service last year introduced the 10-year wildfire crisis strategy, which identified 250 fire sheds that are called high risk. And a fire shed is typically around 250,000 acres. And so they have 134 of these fire sheds. And what the USA plans to do is to create mobile strike teams and use new technology that allows it to plan treatments more effectively. He also said that the agency wants to look at more effective National Environmental Policy Act analysis and use modernized grants and agreement system. I'm not sure what all that means. Vilsack, he also said that it's been challenging to hire engineers and design staff that are needed for wildfire prevention efforts. I didn't know engineers would be involved in that, but they've been trying to recruit. They've had trouble getting people on they say the firefighting force. That this is supposed to be fire prevention, but they tried to address that with the pay structure. What somebody in America acting like we're America and offering wages and benefits to attract workers? Because I don't know, why don't they just offshore the jobs, or bring them to everybody that's coming here? Well, why is the government the only people that offers pay and wages? That's an interesting question. But right here, this NBC News article says that it turned distinctive wildfire seasons into year-round threats. The mega drought has. The conditions are getting worse, but a lot of these fires, when you hear the firefighters talk about them and the way they they just, explode, and the way they change direction. They're like, something else is up. This isn't behaving like wildfires have always behaved. And Dane Wigington over there at Geoengineering Watch, he has a lot to say about this. And, they say it's a lot of the everything that's being dropped, and all the chemtrails and everything, and all that falls to the ground, and that's particles that are making fires crazy. So maybe we just need to stop that. Stop spending money on chemtrails, and then maybe we wouldn't have to be spending so much money fighting fires. But these forests do need to be thinned out. I know. I live out west, and you can end up camping sometimes in some pretty rural places, and you literally don't even have to walk into the forest to find enough wood for a fire. Like, you literally just at the side of the road, before you even get to like where the forest starts, you can pick up firewood. So I mean, I can't imagine how much is just laying on the ground waiting to be fuel for these fires. But that this money is aimed to for projects to reduce the fire risks in Arizona, California, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. It's wildfire mitigation efforts, 440 million. And you know what? That seems like a lot of money. A half a billion, but the way these things cost, and with how rural a lot of these areas are, it just doesn't go that far. And with people actually getting offered wages to do the job, yeah, that money doesn't really go that far. So here it says that Vilsack said they expect and anticipate around 200 communities in the western U.S. will see mitigated wildfire risk as a result of this. The ongoing mega drought, have left many states vulnerable, turning distinct wildfire season into year-round threats. And of course, because of climate change, it will increase both the frequency and intensity of such blazes. And as I say, Dane Wigington has some things to say about what else is maybe increasing the wildfires. So it says that where the money is being spent was based on wildfire risk to nearby communities and buildings. The agency is also prioritizing the protection of underserved communities. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure there's a lot of underserved communities that are living in really rural areas out west. Public water sources, and critical infrastructure in tribal lands. So, yeah, these Indian reservations out west, they're near things and infrastructure. I mean, you would think that would be being protected. So Vilsack said, they really were just determining where the risks are highest, and that it's not a matter of whether or not a forest will burn, it's just a matter of when and where. And that's true. I mean, forest fires, they're actually, a healthy part of the ecosystem. A lot of things happen when there's forest fires, and a lot of things, rebirth cycles. And that's why, when these fires are in remote areas, they just let them burn, and hopefully, they burn themselves out, because it is a cycle of life, but when it comes down to where people and property and infrastructure are at risk, that's where I guess they're stepping up to the plate. And it says that these are critical areas that need to be worked on. Um, and essentially, when you create a circumstance that, should there be a fire, you minimize the risk of the fire getting to a point where it risks communities or critical infrastructure. So that's what we're spending $500 million on. And sure, it's needed. And I'm not sure how much good it's going to do because, right, we're not going to get out of this overnight, and it's going to require a long-term commitment that spans a number of years because, right now they're just going after the biggest areas that need protection, but there's a lot of forests out west, and so the government outspending more money. So stay tuned, people.